Did you know sodium Laureth Sulfate, a common cleansing agent found in shampoos and soaps, damages the natural protective barriers on your skin and lets in hormone-disrupting chemicals, which can be carcinogenic? Welcome to Sustainability Matters Today, where you'll learn about the fantastic work people and organizations are doing right now to heal our planet through environmentally friendly products and methodologies. My name is Daniel Hartz, and I speak with amazing champions of sustainability who prove a clean and beautiful future on Earth is possible because green practices oftentimes make financial sense. I aim to uncover the important role money plays in people's decisions to adopt and commit to environmentally friendly practices in order to create a chain reaction of positive change. In each episode, you'll also learn practical steps you can take every day to live a more eco-friendly lifestyle. Let's jump in. In this episode of Sustainability Matters Today, I interviewed Dennes James-Kraan, the co-founder of Tabitha James Kraan Organic Hairdressing and champion of sustainable and organic hair care. Founded in 1999, TJK is a pioneering organic salon based in the Cotswolds, UK, that runs 100% on energy from renewable sources. In 2015, they launched their own line of luxury organic hair products that deliver professional performance without compromising on the quality of ingredients. This organic hair care line recently won the Marie Claire Hair Awards in 2019 for being a game changer in the cosmetic industry. Please make sure to subscribe to the Sustainability Matters Today podcast to learn more about other champions of sustainability like Dennes. I hope you enjoy the episode. Thank you for joining me on the show, Dennes. Great to have you.
Thank you, Daniel. It's great to be here.
So I'd love to start with you telling us a bit about yourself and really how you got involved with sustainability in general and also specifically at Tabitha James Kraan.
Right, okay. So I moved to the UK in 1998 from the Netherlands, where I grew up in a society where, recycling was very ingrained in everything we did.
Right.
From bringing your empty bottles back to the shop, to collecting the newspapers from all my neighbors and then bringing them to school once a week, where then the council would bring a lorry to collect all the papers of the whole town of the whole week in one go to bring them to the recycling point. Talking about a low CO2 footprint, one lorry trip, just to one school, done, all the papers. Bringing empty bags to the shop, that was my biggest shock when I first moved to the UK, and I was actually refused service. I think it was a Tesco when I went there for the first time ever and brought my empty bags.
Right.
And the girl at the checkout looked at me and said, "I'm really sorry, but you can't use those bags." And I questioned why not, and she said, "Well, they don't have Tesco on. You have to use Tesco bags when you buy shopping here."
Wow.
And I actually had to insist for the duty manager, to come out and for him to give her permission to use my own empty shopping bags. Luckily, things have changed dramatically since then.
Yeah, sounds like it.
I also seriously struggled to recycle our domestic waste because there simply wasn't a collection scheme in place whatsoever. There was no separation of glass, aluminium, all the things that can be recycled really easily.
Yeah.
And when I made Tabitha aware about the culture that I came from and how that was also ingrained and made so normal and so acceptable, but also how it was prioritized, she then joined me on a mission to see how we could implement some of those ideas in her hair salon that she already had.
Okay, that makes sense. So you were actually kind of the catalyst for it to be kind of brought on board and made into a core part of Tabitha James Kraan.
My background opened up the conversations, yes. Yeah. And I think, the Dutch culture, which is very similar to Scandinavian culture, started the conversations like how can we improve some of the things we're doing here with the limited public services that are currently available.
Yeah, really interesting. And so what were you doing before you moved to the UK? On your website, it says that you were a researcher. So was that a big part of what you were doing before?
Yeah, I did study at one of the Dutch universities at the Faculty of Philosophy.
Okay.
Now, that's not necessarily research, but the department that I was studying at was so small at the time that it was really a really new concept. So it was put together with philosophy because it was the only way they could sort of justify placing it.
Uh-huh.
I studied cognitive artificial intelligence, and this was back in the mid-90s.
Oh, wow. And so that research was then used in the actual TJK product line and all the work that you're doing at the salon.
No, I think I'm just generally researching is a skill that I've always been really good at. So that skill has definitely come very handy when we started to, well, first of all, referring back to what I was said earlier, that we were trying to find solutions for services that didn't exist yet in this country.
Right.
We came up with some of our own solutions, but also convinced eventually the local council to start a recycling service.
Oh, wow.
And further down the line, it also served us very well when we were determined to create a hair care line only using natural ingredients, which is incredibly hard. And often we've been told that, by cosmetic scientists, that what we want to achieve is impossible. The combinations of the ingredients just are not going to stick together. They're not going to last. And it's due to, sheer determination and continuous research that we found ways around that.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I think that's definitely want to hear more about that. So you moved to the UK in 1998, and then Tabitha was already doing, she already had her salon at that point. And so how did it begin? I mean, because now in my view and from what I've seen, it seems like you're very much a leader in the sustainability hair care space. So how did it kind of begin?
Well, yeah, it's one of those series of events that led Tabitha to actually start her first salon at the young age of 23, which is back then, it's quite for a woman to start her own business at that age was quite unusual, especially in that sector. And it basically came down to the salon that she was working for going bankrupt, and literally she was told one morning when she came into work that I'm really sorry, but we got to be out here by lunchtime. She's always had a fascination for hair, and her mother was a hairdresser, which is why she said she would never ever go down that route. Teenage girl like, I'm not going to do what my mum does. No way.
Famous last words.
But she rolled into it because she needed the job. She wasn't going to continue studying for chef. So she took on an apprenticeship in a local salon, thinking like, well, they were looking for somebody. It's not something I really want to do, but it will get some income until I find something that I want to do. And she just completely fell in love. And when she witnessed that on day one, she was like, yes, this is what I want to do. I want to be part of that. And that's how the process started. So that the combination of that led her to really dig deep and delve deep. And she went to London and went to the Sassoon Academy, studied there, and she really threw herself in.
So going back to the salon, on the website, it said that it's quite environmentally friendly. You have a lot of different programs in place to really be eco-friendly and sustainable. And I know recently on the lucky day of Friday the 13th of September, you introduced the TerraCycle program to the salon. So what's kind of the thought process, or what are some of the things that you do at the salon to encourage that kind of environmentally friendly approach?
Well, so when we started looking at sort of improving our waste, improving our sustainability, and also combined with the fact that Tabitha got pregnant with our first son back in 1999, and the light bulb moment she had when the midwife came to visit her and advised her to stop coloring her hair. And she questioned the midwife, saying, like, well, hold on a second. I'm the hairdresser. You're the midwife. Who are you to tell me what to do with my hair?
Yeah.
And the midwife, in very, very clear, plain language, said, anything you put on your scalp, and especially something as, chemical like a hair dye, could potentially be absorbed through your skin, into your body, into your bloodstream, and affect your unborn baby. So, I mean, to say that to a pregnant woman is, of course, that's gonna, be like, okay, if there's anything that could possibly harm my unborn baby, I'm gonna look into this.
Yeah.
Which she did. The hair coloring industry is been extremely good at hiding all the incidents that have happened over the years, with literally people having reactions that allergic reactions that resulted in instant death.
Wow.
All over the world on a regular basis. Not many people are aware about this. If you do a Google search, you'll find some references here and there from newspaper clippings in England. You'll find instances, but it's no big deal has been made about it, and it's just like being stung by a bee. If you're allergic to that, that's how it's sort of signed off as no big deal. But it is, in the same time, it is being proven to be directly related to the dyes in the hair that cause the reaction, which are extremely harsh synthetic chemicals that are created to open up the follicle and to dye the inside, the core of the hair on the inside. So when the cuticle closes again, the color stays there much longer, rather than staining the hair on the outside, which is what a semi-permanent color would be doing.
Oh, I see. Wow.
So when she had that light bulb moment and the midwife told her that, she was like, well, if this could harm my unborn baby, obviously it could potentially harm me as well. And that started the journey in a much bigger scale, where she then said, like, I want to start looking at alternative ways of coloring people's hair, but also I want to start looking at all the other products that we use in our industry, because nobody's ever told me that. When I was studying as a hairdresser, when I was doing my NVQ, and then later on when I went to all these academies in London, nobody ever mentioned about actually what is in these products and how they work. All we were learned is the technique and how to use them, not necessarily what is actually in them and how to protect ourselves from it, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
The consequences these products might have for the environment when we wash it and rinse it out of somebody's hair and it goes down the drain and it magically disappears. Effectively, we've made it our life's mission to try and eradicate harmful synthetic man-made chemicals from our industry. And when we started doing that in 1999, and we decided we're going to change our salon to a organic hair salon, a fresh air organic hair salon with a holistic approach. We're going to stop using perms instantly. We're going to swap the colorings over for henna, for natural base colors. We're going to stop using hairsprays and aerosols, and we're going to start looking for alternatives that we can use instead. But as you probably would have got from what I was telling earlier, the salon was already a thriving, successful business.
Right.
So that caused a few issues because back in 1999, you couldn't just go to a wholesaler and say, like, you know what, we don't want normal shampoo anymore. We want to have organic shampoo that hasn't got SLS in or whatever, because it simply didn't exist. That led us then to go on a journey of studying and researching to start trying to formulate our own products. In the meantime, things that we could implement straight away was like switching over to an electricity supplier that was generating the electricity from sustainable resources, changing all the lights, because there's usually a lot of light in a hair salon, a lot of strong high voltage voltage lamps. So we changed them all over to low voltage lamps. We started the recycling scheme. We got the local council and convinced them to start a recycling scheme, start collecting the recycling materials, start separating everything that was recyclable. We even, for a long time, we collected all the hair clippings and we donated them to a local factory that turned them into mats that were then sold to car garages, because hair is extremely good at absorbing oil.
Oh, yeah.
So they were used to put underneath the cars when they were doing the services. And when they were changing the oil in the car over, and the mix would fall on the hair mat, and that would absorb it, rather than it falling on the floor and then having to use harsh chemicals to clean it all again. Yeah, I mean, that was just the start of the journey. So from then on, we just, everything we do, we are always looking at what is the impact that it has on the environment to create this? What is the potential impact that it has on the people around who are using this service or this product? And what is the impact that it has when it's being discarded or it's done its job?
Yeah, I think it's really amazing that from that one comment, I mean, I'm sure there was more to it, but for the sake of the story, that one comment that the midwife made to Tabitha, it went so much further than just don't color your hair. And now, as you said, it went all the way to you switching your electricity provider and donating the hair clippings. And so it's incredible how it was such a positive snowball effect. From just let's stop using harsh chemicals on our hair and scalp to let's take a look at it from a holistic point of view on how everything we do is affecting not only our health but the environment as well.
And all these things are connected. I love that you use the word holistic, because that is exactly, we never use that word, but all our clients and everybody around us didn't understand the word organic. This was in 1999. How can a hair salon be organic?
Right.
And this was before organic food were introduced in the supermarkets as well. So it was for a lot of people, it was a complete concept that they couldn't understand, and especially not in combination with a hair salon.
Sure. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It is holistic, and it takes into account much more than just what you're doing at the salon, because I think in order to be a leader or to really make a change or a difference in the world, you really need to kind of go all the way. And by going all the way, then other people can say, oh, well, I'll do a little bit of what they do. And by doing that and having other people just make a little change by following you, you're creating that chain reaction.
Absolutely. I mean, I would definitely not want to put ourselves forward as an example, because it's been extremely hard work. What we're trying to do is near enough impossible. The goal we've set, we want to eradicate all harmful chemicals from our industry, the hair industry, which is one of the biggest industries in this world within the beauty sector. That's setting the goal really high. So, but just by making one tiny little change and the snowball effect that can have, if everybody would be doing that, we can make a huge difference.
Yeah,
a huge difference.
Absolutely. And going down that route, because that is quite a lofty goal, as you're saying, eradicating all harmful ingredients in the hair industry. So I'd love to hear, first of all, and you've already outlined this to a certain degree. So I guess what I'd love to hear is more about what it is exactly that you're doing. I think it'd be interesting to kind of compare and contrast first what is considered quote unquote normal or mainstream, and then have you tell us about what you do at TJK with your products and why it's so different and perhaps the challenges with that. So if we start with kind of, how normal hair care products are made, is there any kind of, I guess, rule of thumb in terms of, when you go to just a supermarket or a drugstore and you see, a $5 or £5 bottle of shampoo, for example, on the shelf? How are those products typically made? What goes into that?
So it was Mr. Schwarzkopf who looked at that problem and looked at other industries and how they solved oil-related issues. And he discovered that in the factories they were using an ingredient called sodium Laureth Sulfate that was designed to decrease the engines to get all the oil out. And they also use it if there were like big oil spills on the floor to mop up and to get all this oil from the floor.
Right.
Very effective and but also very cheap. So he came up with the idea that if he used that ingredient in a water-based formulation and put it in a bottle, it would help if it's going to decrease, oil and from engines. It's also going to be very effective at getting that oil out of your scalp. So that was how the modern version of shampoo was born. It was born out of a solution to get rid of the oil that our body naturally produces. So instead of brushing your hair and spreading it through the length of your hair to protect it, just get rid of it. And that will stop your hair from become greasy. Now, I don't know about you, but when I heard that story, the first time I heard the story, I was quite skeptical about using a really harsh synthetic man-made chemical that is designed to mop up oil spills from a factory floor and decrease engines, to put that on my scalp to wash my hair with. Didn't sound right to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, up to this day, so 110 years later, from when he first made that formulation, I would say at least 99% of shampoos and body wash as well still have this ingredient as the main surfactant, the main working ingredient after water in the formulation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as soon as you said it, I recognized the name right away. I've seen it 100,000 times on anything that's soap-based. You see sodium Laureth Sulfate.
Exactly, because it's very cheap. It's very cheap to make, which is why you can buy a bottle of shampoo or body wash for £1.
Right.
Because the main ingredient, the main surfactant, is super cheap to make. Now, there's two big problems with that. Your skin is supposed to have a protective layer of oil, of course. If you would look at your hand and you move it around in the light, you see that soft sheen.
Yeah.
Which is the acid mantle. It's a protective layer of oil that's there to protect your skin, but also to keep the moisture inside. And we have that on our scalp as well. What I was referring to earlier is that our scalp actually produces slightly more oil with the intention that we brush it through our hair to feed our hair, to moisturize and to protect our hair. So when you start using something that strips that all away, your body goes into a sort of an adverse reaction and goes like, well, that was meant to be there, so I'm going to make a bit more. And before you know it, you get stuck in a perpetual circle, because you'll find that the more you wash with a SLS or other synthetic strong detergent-based product, the more your body starts producing oil, the quicker your hair will feel greasy. So during our research, when we discovered that, one of the first things we looked at is like, this is a big problem. And of course, these harsh synthetic ingredients are so damaging to the hair that you then need to use other products to rectify the damage that the shampoo has done. Well, that's obviously serving the companies that make hair care products really well, because they can then sell you a conditioner and a mask and a treatment and a this and a that to rectify the damage that their shampoo did in the first place. But when we first discovered this, and we really got to grips of what was going on here, we set out to create something that helped people to break that cycle, to help them to stop washing all the time and wash so often, and to help to regain that balance, the scalp balance, the natural oil production. So the first thing we did is we created a 100% natural dry shampoo, which is completely made with botanical grown ingredients that all have the ability to absorb excess oil without taking it all away. So using natural ingredients like rice, potato, burdock root, all grinded down into fine powders, and they all have their different functions into absorbing excess oil, refreshing the scalp, dislodging dirt, and after brushing out and removing these, making your hair feel like it's being washed. And we added some essential oils as well, so your hair also smells clean, because very early on in our journey we discovered that a lot of people wash their hair because they wanted to smell nice, they wanted to smell like the fragrance that the shampoo has, not because the hair is dirty. So that started the journey into, that was our first hair care product that we made. We made it initially for our salon guests when we discovered this, and when we were educating them on the perpetual circle that they got themselves trapped in, and the solution that they were asking for to, but how do I stop this? Because if I don't wash my hair, it feels awful. It feels greasy. My scalp itches. I get dandruff is a famous one as well. When people have little white bits of skin from the scalp come falling down on their shoulders, they call it dandruff. But that's not dandruff. That's just really dry skin that's breaking off. It's that tissue skin, which is caused by overwashing it with a detergent, strong synthetic detergent-based shampoo. It dries out your skin.
So if I need to get some new shampoo or soap or any really kind of product to wash, one thing I should look out for is that sodium Laureth Sulfate ingredient.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we should watch out for?
Yeah, there is a whole list of course. It's not the only one. There's a whole list of really harsh man-made synthetic detergents that are commonly being used in the in hair care body wash products. They're quite easy to find on the internet. There is a really good resource. Again, it's quite well known. If you would go to the internet and you look for the Skin Deep database, you go to the website called ewg.org. So it's a cosmetic database. It's one of the longest established database where you can research ingredients that by law always have to be put on the bottle of the product. So if you have a product that you're not sure about in your hand, turn it around and the ingredients will be on it. By law, they have to. And any ingredients you're not sure about, and I would always say the first 5 ingredients are the most important ones. You can type in on the EWG Skin Deep database, and they will give you some more background about where the ingredient comes from, whether it's man-made, natural, any scientific research that has been done that has proven that it might have adverse reaction on you, the environment, etc.
That's really helpful. You mentioned in your dry shampoo that you're using 100% natural ingredients. And I was reading on your website that you have a very specific way in terms of how you source these ingredients and what you look for when you get them. So can you tell us a little bit about what ingredients you're using?
Well, we use a lot of different ingredients. Our formulations are quite complicated in that we don't necessarily believe that less is more. When we formulate something, we have a really good understanding about what each botanical will bring to a particular issue that we're trying to address. And if we design a product and we want to introduce multiple raw ingredients or botanical ingredients to make a combination to address multiple issues and create a hair care product that is going to be usable by people with different kinds of hair types as well. So we don't believe in marketing tricks like we make one product for somebody with curly hair and another product for somebody with straight hair and dry hair and whatever hair. We make products that work for all hair.
Right. And as far as the ingredients, and you source organic ones, and I've also read that they're primarily local. Is that right?
If it can grow in the UK, we will source it from the UK, and we will source it from a Soil Association certified UK farm or grower. So the Soil Association, for people who are not aware about it, is the longest established independent charity in the UK that certifies if a farmer or anybody who grows anything from the ground, any botanicals, does not use pesticide or artificial fertilizers, and that the land that they grow on has not been treated for at least 10 years before they start growing on it, that no GMO is introduced, and that they respect wildlife, do not test their ingredients on animals, etc., etc. And we are a Soil Association certified brand, because they will also certify cosmetics. And again, it's a similar issue. I mean, if you gonna spray something on a crop that is capable of killing an insect, then I'm not sure if I wanna eat that crop afterwards, no matter how much time it's been washed. If it can kill an insect, then it's, I'm not sure if it's going to do much good for me.
I think it's fair. And so is that the kind of the thought process in terms of why you're using organic ingredients in your products?
Yeah, because organic effectively is a measurement of the degree of how natural something is. The biggest frustration that we come across on every day, and it's in the last few years is actually really escalated, is that our industry, the beauty industry, is not regulated at all when it comes to using terms like natural and organic. So the food industry is regulated. So, and this is a worldwide agreement. If you are going into a shop and you buy an apple which is certified organic, then no matter where in the world that is grown, it is passed by the same standards to make sure that it is an organic apple, which means it is not being sprayed or grown with artificial fertilizers. In the beauty industry, unfortunately, that legislation does not exist. So this means that anybody who puts, a drop of an organic ingredient into their bottle, meaning that the total amount of the organic ingredients in the whole formulation might only be 0.1%, can put on that it's an organic product and get away with it. There's no regulation. They're not going to be held accountable by anybody if they do that.
So your certification with the Soil Association is basically you saying that actually we are truly organic because the Soil Association, which is a regulating body that looks at food and creates a specific set of standards, they have looked at your products and have said, yes, this passes this predetermined criteria.
Yeah, they are an independent organization. And everything we create has to first be approved by them. Every single ingredient we source, we have to disclose exactly where we get them and from who. They will backtrack and find out exactly who this person is, where it was grown, how it was processed, what happened in between, how it was transported to us, and the footprint that is said.
Wow.
Every single ingredient. Everything is being logged, everything is being checked, no animals are being hurt. It is a complete audit of everything we do by an independent auditor, effectively, who specializes in making, in making sure that this is all genuine, organically done.
That's incredible.
And it's not just a one-off process. We get inspected once a year. We get a huge inspection.
Incredible. I would imagine that you wear that Soil Association badge with pride, considering that anyone can say that they're organic, but you're organic and verified and certified.
Certified, yeah, and that's the thing. It's, we have nothing to hide here. We're doing this because we believe in it, not because it happens to be in fashion. 20 years ago, people wouldn't even think twice about buying a new sweater or dress every week or two a week, I don't know, and throw them out after wearing them 2 days because, you buy a new one again because you've had those you wore it for 2 days.
Yeah.
But things are changing. People are aware about the huge amount of damage to the environment, the way people that actually are making these clothes are being treated, and it's really horrendous industry. The beauty industry is not far removed from those practices either. It's a huge industry with vast amounts of money going around. So in the last 5 years, what we've seen is that there hasn't been any significant growth in terms of turnover in the industry, but there's been a huge growth to people wanting natural, organic, transparent brands. And of course, the big boys who were having a 99.9% of the market share, they are losing out. Because if the overall economy, if the overall industry doesn't grow, but only one segment within the industry grows, which is mainly small independent brands trying to do the right thing, trying to be more aware and more sustainable about how they create these products, paying fair wages, paying back into society and donating to charities, then these big boys are going to want a slice of that as well. So what we're seeing at the moment is well-established companies that have been around for a long time and have been using the same formulation that Mr. Schwarzkopf initially created 110 years ago. They just add a few drops of magic organic something to that formulation, and now they're also clean and sustainable and natural, using all the buzzwords, the marketing words that they think will sell their products again to that new generation that's coming through, the millennials and the Generation Z that are looking for authentic products.
Yeah. And it's interesting because if you take a look at the organic products, well, these ones that you're specifically referring to, in terms of their pricing, they are more expensive than a 1 pound bottle of soap that you can get, at some drugstores. I do remember you mentioning at the end of the day that actually, even though the prices are different, your products aren't necessarily more expensive once you factor in a number of different things. So can you tell us a little bit about TJK product pricing and kind of the thought process behind it and whether they are indeed more expensive or not?
So that's a really interesting question, Daniel, and one that I get asked a lot because we charge £25 for a bottle of shampoo, which to a lot of people seems a lot of money.
Right.
But you have to remember that going back to what I was saying earlier, the reason why we develop these products is because we're trying to break the endless cycle of having to wash your hair every single day. So the products we've created are designed to help to rebalance the natural equilibrium of your body, to work with your body and in harmony with your body and your scalp and the natural oil production in particular. So when you first would start using a Tabitha James Kraan product, it seems like a luxury, it seems like a treat. The products are scented with aromatherapy, certified organic essential oils, and it's an experience. It's like a spa at home. But as you start using the products and you replace your previous shampoo, you'll start to notice a difference happening in the way your body is reacting, resulting over time that instead of you feel like you have to wash your hair, it becomes a choice. And clients that have been using our products for, more than, for years now, they've come to a stage where they can easily go 2 weeks in between washes. So although it seems a very high expense, £25 for a bottle of shampoo in the first instance, if you take into account that it can achieve you only have to wash your hair once a week, and you do the calculations that are effectively in the long term, it is the same cost as a £1 bottle you buy in a supermarket. Our products are also highly concentrated. They're made with aloe vera juice rather than water. You don't need to use as much. There's a lot more than just the price point when you start comparing products with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's it's a really good point. I think it's kind of like the argument of sometimes investing in an expensive pair of jeans, assuming that they actually are high quality, because high quality jeans will last you potentially for years, and they may cost 4 or 5 times as much as kind of the cheaper jeans, but cheaper jeans you'll need to replace maybe once or twice a year. And so by the time that your high quality jeans actually need replacing, you've spent the same amount, if not more, on cheap jeans.
Well, I mean, I think, you're knocking the nail on the head. And this is, when it comes down to sustainability, because I don't know about you, but my first washing machine literally lasts 30 years. Yeah, and it was still going strong. The only reason I haven't got it anymore is because I didn't want to move it to England. So I gave it to a friend when I left the Netherlands.
Are they still using it?
It's still going now. So that washing machine is now 50 years old, And since I've lived in England, I've already had to buy 3 washing machines.
Yeah.
Because it got to a stage where, of course, things break down, but it got to a stage where it was actually more expensive to fix the machine than it was to buy a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've demanded that everything has to be as cheap as possible now. And the whole economic system is driven towards making things available at as cheap a price as possible at the sacrifice of the quality. And you can still get quality, but the few companies that remain in the world that build truly quality products, they have to now charge such vast amounts. It's not accessible for us anymore. It's just not, we can afford it anymore because they've been pushed out of the mass consumer market by the drive prison competition to the extent that their prices are now unaffordable for most of us.
And with that kind of as the backdrop, what I'm interested in knowing about is really based on everything we've talked about so far and kind of from your experience and point of view, would you say that sustainability is sustainable? Meaning, does it actually make sense from a financial standpoint for both consumers and companies and organizations to focus on being environmentally friendly, kind of from a financial standpoint? Because if it's not financially viable, then it's hard to justify actually continuing doing something.
That's a really good question. And, this it's not a simple answer. At the moment, the way the economy is working, it's going to be very hard to introduce a new way of thinking that is going to be sustainable in the long term. One of the issues that the Sol Association is battling with is that there is an argument that there's simply not enough land to grow organic ingredients to feed the whole world. But on the other side, actually by creating that land, it would also bring back so much biodiversity that other food resources would become available that we've lost.
Right.
We've lost a lot of resources in the way that consumerism, capitalistic, economic cycle is taking us to. If it becomes acceptable to just buy a new product because the first one is broken, or to buy a new sweater because you've already wore it once, then and all those resources that were required to make it are being discarded and often not even given to somebody else, but go into landfill. So it's not a question of if it would be sustainable to become more aware about the limited resources we have. I think it's more that the way we live now is not going to be sustainable.
Yeah, so we don't really have a choice. We need to make it work.
Well, I mean, look around you. I know this. I'm not quite sure when this interview is going live, but we've got a huge UN conference coming up again. Climate strikes all around the world. People are waking up to the fact that people are becoming aware that we've gone over the tipping point now, and it's early days, but we are starting to, see the effects that humans have had on nature, and the negative effect on the balance is starting to show up in the climate change. Sustainability, therefore, the only way I see it is to always take what you can replace or what nature can naturally replenish, and that is true sustainability. I love the brands that work with bamboo. Bamboo is one of the fastest growing plants in the world. So it can literally grow a meter in a day.
Yeah.
And in the salon, we've got some amazing organic bamboo briefs, like basic underwear and leggings. And they are so comfortable. They're so breathable. And the bamboo that they're made of was grown back within a day of making this clothing out of them.
Yeah.
They last forever. And this is real sustainability. It's. I have no issue with taking from nature and using resources and developing and building a better world for everybody. I mean, that's what we all want to do. We want to make life more interesting, more comfortable. We want to eradicate disease. We want everybody to be more content and to be more happy. But it can only be done if the resources that we use to achieve that goal are not completely depleted.
Yeah.
And this is the path that we're on at the moment. And that is not going to be sustainable, of course.
It's very true. And so what can people listening to this podcast do to be more eco-friendly in their daily lives?
If you really want to be more eco-friendly, take your shoes off, take your socks off, and walk on the grass and go outside and go into nature.
Yeah.
Most of us live way too much of our time inside in buildings away from nature. And it's that disconnect. Humans are part of nature. We're made out of the same building blocks and the same atoms and the same cells as trees and animals out there are. And we should never forget that. We should never allow ourselves to be separated from that, which is what has been happening. So if you want to become more sustainable and more eco-aware, then start going out as much as you can.
Yeah.
Every opportunity you have, go out there and enjoy being outside and breathing in fresh air.
I think that's a great suggestion. And oftentimes when you do go out in nature, you end up feeling refreshed and rejuvenated and just kind of overall in a much better and healthier state of mind. So Dennes, thank you so much for your time. I think you took us on an incredible journey with a lot of twists and turns and very interesting facts and things that I don't think we've ever, at least I certainly had no idea about. So if people wanted to learn more about Tabitha James Kraan as a brand or as a person, where could they go to find you and find more information on what you're doing?
Well, they can ideally come and visit us in one of our salons in the UK.
Okay.
And that would be amazing, because then you would really get to experience everything and all the changes that we've been trying to instigate in the last 20 years in our industry. But alternatively, they can visit our website and find out where other partners, TJK partners across the world are, and they can go and visit them. If you're in America or in Canada or in Europe, anywhere, we've got partners all over the world now that have joined our journey and are sharing our message, and they're all educated directly by Tabitha, and they share our same philosophy. So if you go to tabithajk.com, then you can find all these wonderful this network of Tabitha's friends all across the world.
Excellent. Well, it's great to know that regardless of where you are, you have access to the high quality products and to the expertise that Tabitha has as far as being a hair geek and passing that knowledge on to others.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Dennes. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. If you'd like to learn more about Dennes and Tabitha James Kraan Organic Hairdressing, please visit their website at tabithajameskraan.com, and that's spelled TABITHAJAMESKRAAN.com, or like their Facebook page at TJK Organic. You can also follow them on Twitter at TabithaJK for more updates. If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe to the podcast to be the first to know about new episodes. We're on Spotify, the Apple Podcast app, Stitcher, and really anywhere else where you can listen to podcasts. And let us know you listened to this episode on Instagram. Tag us at TabithaJK and at Sustainability Matters Today. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks, and talk to you soon.